Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunamilitan Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantam Apeta Krityam Rapaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putveti Tan Maitaya Tadavo Binedus Tam Savabhutam Hridayam Munimana Tasmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayak Bhaktya Vihina Parada Lakshai Kiptashtakamari Tarangamadye Kripa Mai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavevasmi Najivami Tvayavina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayanam Charanandike Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu bhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So today, on the appearance day of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the Lord Nityananda, the first expansion, non-different from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, we're going to continue reading from the Nityananda Caritamrta, which has taken the portions of the Chaitanya Bhagavat, which deal specifically with Lord Nityananda. This is now Madhya Kanda, chapter 1, describing Lord Nityananda's meeting with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we first offer our most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of our beloved Gurus, unto Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityalila Bhavishta Om Vishnupad, Asto Tarsat Sri Srimad Abhayacharnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and unto Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityalila Bhavishta Om Vishnupad Asto Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Raj, unto our exalted Rupanuga Guru Varga, and unto all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Okay. So, yes, I said this is the first chapter of the Madhya Kanda. Madhya Kanda is the portion of the Chaitanya Bhagavat that deals with Mahaprabhu's pastimes after he has manifested his devotional sentiments. Right? And so, this one's entitled Lord Nityananda's Meeting with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I'm going to read. If you want more background, we've been talking for months about the tattva of Nityananda Prabhu. So we can't do everything in one short class. We're just going to hear pastimes. But, as we heard this morning, anyone who hears these pastimes with attention and respect will get Krishna Prem. The seeds of that will be planted in your heart, and love of God in its full and perfect form will one day manifest in your heart. Probably not in one lifetime. But you could make significant progress even in one life if you desire. And once you're on the path, it's so pleasurable that there's nothing comparable to it. So this is direct translation from the Chaitanya Bhagavat put in narrative form. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya and all glories to Sri Nityananda. All glories to Sri Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Gora. All glories to the Lord, who is the life and soul of Narahari and Gadadhar. O Lord, please glance mercifully upon me. All glories to Sri Gauranga, along with his devotees. Here you go, listen to this. If one hears the topics of Lord Nityananda, he will certainly achieve pure devotional service. The topics of Madhya Kanda, that means the middle pastimes, right, are pure nectar. Hearing them destroys one's atheistic mentality. What is atheistic mentality? even if you're a believer in God in some general way, atheistic mentality means to that degree to which we don't have complete faith and realization. And so we have doubts, we make adjustments, compensate in different ways when we don't have full faith and full realization. Like we said earlier, 50% devotee means 50% atheist and demon. We're going for 100% devotee. Please behold, now, so all that was Mangalacharana, where in the beginning of every chapter he offers his obeisance and glorification of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and his associates. So, please behold, beautiful Lord Nityananda, to your eyes' full satisfaction. He is personified love and affection for Lord Gauranga. How are we going to behold him? Through our ears. We have to hear with our ears. So, Lord Nityananda's limbs are filled with transcendental mellows for Lord Gauranga. Speaking in a faltering voice and unable to walk properly, Lord Nityananda resided in Vrindavan. Meanwhile, this is where we left off this morning. He has been traveling all around India for 12 years, and now he's in Vrindavan in incredible separation from Mahaprabhu. They are eternally together, but when they appear in this world, they descend as avatars for the purpose of pastimes. They may not meet up right away. Mahaprabhu's eternal associates, some appeared in Navadvip and associated with him from his early childhood. Others were born in different parts of India and came at different times in as his pastimes were unfolding. Nityananda is somewhat older, some 12 years older, and he's been traveling for 12 years. Mahaprabhu by this time is somewhere in his teens or 20s. It's very hard to tell. But they've not seen each other in this lifetime, and they both feel internal separation. So, Nityananda is in Vrindavan, hankering and hankering. When will I get to meet my Lord? But he knew that he couldn't come until Mahaprabhu had begun to manifest his devotional and Sankirtan Leela. The tasting of devotion in the mood of Srimati Radhika and the desire to spread the beauty of pure devotional service, specifically Braj Prem, and even more deeply, devotion in the mood of Radhika's most intimate servants. So, Lord Nityananda is in Vrindavan. Meanwhile, Sri Gaurachandra revealed himself in Navadvip. Lord Gauranga constantly performed Sankirtan in great ecstasy. He felt distressed, however, not seeing Lord Nityananda. So he's begun now. He's begun the Sankirtan movement. Lord Nityananda could understand the manifestation of Lord Gaurachandra. He resided in Vrindavan waiting for this auspicious moment. Understanding that his Lord had revealed himself, Lord Nityananda immediately went to Navadvip and stayed at the house of Nandana Acharya. Nandanacharya's house, if you go to Mayapur, if you've ever been there, there's a main road that goes up. There's a ghat, a place where boats dock, right? At the tip of this, the Saraswati River is here. It merges into the Ganga. And at this place, there's a place where all the boats come. They go from Godrum to here. They go from Koladweep to there. And at that tip is a place called Ishadan. It was a very beautiful garden-like area. And Nandanacharya had a house. And up the road, about a 30-minute walk, all along now are beautiful temples established by the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. And at one place is the magnificent compound of ISKCON with the gigantic temple for Mahaprabhu. And then further up the road is the place of Mahaprabhu's birth, called the Yog Pit. And near there also was the place of Gadadhar Pandit. Advaita Acharya had a house there. Just a little bit beyond that, Srivas Thakur had a house. Very, very beautiful. Years ago, there was nothing there but farmland. Now, there are temples everywhere, apartment buildings everywhere. Mayapur is becoming known. Srila Prabhupada said one day there'll be a big airport there. Right? So people will come directly to Sridham Mayapur, which is pretty astonishing. I guess it's good. It's kind of have mixed feelings about it, because it's no longer the tranquil, peaceful little dham reminiscent of ancient Bengal. There are places you can go. We went on Parikram one time, and we went from the island of Koladweep, where modern-day Navadweep is, and we crossed over to Godrum, where Bhaktivinoda Thakur lived, and we were going to go to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's place. And instead of taking the boat directly there, we took the bridge and took these back roads all around these little farming communities to get there. And it was just like walking in old Bengal. There were no power poles, no cars, just little tiny dirt paths that we were walking on. And as we did our little chanting, as we went by, villagers would come out, oh, Gora, Gora, Haribol, Haribol, It was really great. It was really great. Very simple, very, very sweet. All these people that are born in that place, they're extraordinary souls from previous births, have done magnificent devotional service in the mood of Mahaprabhu, and they get to take birth in that land. Even if they don't appear to be like great devotees, they are. They are. So, he was residing in Vrindavan waiting for this auspicious moment, and he stayed at the house of Nandana Acharya. Nandana Acharya was a Mahabhagavat, a pure devotee of the Lord. He saw Lord Nityananda, who is non-different from Lord Balaram, as being as effulgent as the sun. Lord Nityananda was dressed as an avadut, or a mendicant. Avadut is actually one who has surpassed all the stages in the Varnashram system and even gone beyond the stage of sannyas. There are 4 stages of sannyas, gradual development of detachment and leaving home, and then even beyond that is avadut. So he would dress however he wanted and do pretty much whatever he wanted. But as we heard earlier, he was always immersed internally in deep trance and love of Krishna. So, he possessed a very attractive body. He was always in a deep and sober mood. Lord Nityananda chanted the holy names of Krishna throughout the day and night, constantly chanting. The holy name always on his tongue. And not just any holy name like we chant. Oh, Hare Krishna, No, this was the pure name imbued with the deepest love and imbued with the power that anyone who heard it would also be transformed, right? And become a devotee, a lover of God. He was the abode of Lord Chaitanya's mercy within the 3 worlds. He often shouted loudly because of his ecstasy, being maddened with love of God. All of these verses have deep intrinsic meaning. What does it mean? He was the abode of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. As the representative, as the personification of the principle of Guru, he has the full quality of mercy. He is the full quality of mercy. Mahaprabhu's movement is described and characterized by the quality of audarya, which means munificence, generosity, charity, right? Giving. And so Nityananda Prabhu is the most merciful. He would give to anyone. We read earlier the pastime of Jagai and Madhya, the most fallen and envious demons who attacked him personally. But still, he gave them complete love of God. And that principle of mercy, the abode of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, that is passed down to all bona fide gurus. All Mahabhagavat gurus in our line are the abodes of mercy. And they are given full independence to distribute this love of God anywhere and everywhere. And they are fully empowered. Each of them is capable of delivering an entire universe. But they act according to the will of the Lord, the time frame of the Lord, but they're always pushing to give Mahaprabhu's mercy. The enchanting beauty of his face defeated millions of moons. His sweet smile enlivened all the people of the world. His beautiful, brilliant teeth were just like rows of pearls. And his two broad lotus eyes increased the beauty of his face. His hands reached to his knees, and his chest was very broad. His lotus feet were expert in walking. He walked everywhere. Lord Nityananda spoke to everyone with burning compassion. We sing songs to Lord Nityananda, right? How everywhere he went, door to door, rolling on the ground, begging, please take the name of my Lord Gauranga. He's burning with this urgency to distribute this love of God, right? Indiscriminately to one and all, burning with compassion. Hearing the words from his lotus mouth completely destroyed one's bondage to fruitive activities, no longer attached in any way. We're practicing bhakti, but we are tied by the ropes of attachment, right? Very hard to break them. We pray continually, very hard to break them. Lord Nityananda, just by being in his presence, hearing his voice, destroys that bondage. When Nityananda Prabhu arrived in Madhya, all the people there began to chant, Jai, Jai, because that's the effect of a pure devotee. There are 3 levels of Vaishnava. The Kanishta, according to Mahaprabhu, Kanishta means one who has at least once chanted the holy name. Madhyam means one who's constantly chanting. When I say the holy name, I mean Shuddhanam, pure holy name. Right? Not mixed, not abas, not a semblance, not offensively, absolutely pure with deep love. Madhyam is continually chanting. But in Uttam, Mahabhagavat, just by being in their presence and hearing them, one begins to spontaneously chant one's self. One is enthused. So all these people, Nityananda's there, and immediately, Jai, Jai, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Who is so expert to describe Lord Nityananda's glories? It is Lord Nityananda who broke the sannyas danda of Lord Gaurasundar. That's going to happen later. Right? It is he who enlivened all the foolish, fallen traders of Bengal, the gold merchants and others that ordinary brahmanas would not deign to associate with. Nityananda delivered them and made them great devotees. If anyone simply chants his holy names, Nityananda's name, he will certainly be purified. Seeing Lord Nityananda, Nandanacharya became very happy. He offered him lunch and kept him at his house. Whoever hears about Lord Nityananda's arrival at Navadvip will certainly obtain the pleasure of love and devotion. Now, aware of Lord Nityananda's arrival in Navadvip, Sri Vishwambar became extremely happy within his heart. The Lord had already, on some pretext or other, disclosed the news of Nityananda Prabhu's arrival to the Vaishnavas. However, none of them could understand the meaning of his words. Lord Vishwambar had said, within a day or two, an exalted personality will come here. He's going to describe how that took place. By providence, Lord Nityananda arrived at Navadvip that very day. What does that mean by providence? By divine will, by the influence of Yogamaya, the Shakti, the Leela Shakti of the Lord, that that potency which arranges for the pastimes, the exchanges between the Lord and his devotees. So, he'd arrived that very day when Mahaprabhu had described a great personality will come. Lord Vishwambar, after completing his worship of Lord Vishnu, came and sat with the Vaishnavas. The Lord said to everyone, "Today, I had a wonderful dream. I saw a beautiful chariot bedecked with an auspicious flag. It came and stopped near my door. Seated upon that chariot was a remarkable personality. He carried a large plow on his shoulder, and he appeared very restless. He had a stick tucked into his clothing, and he carried a pitcher in his left hand." That means like a loda, a water pot, right? Made out of gourd. Right? He was dressed in blue garments, and a blue chadar covered his chest. A wonderful earring hung from his left ear. By his features, I assume that he is none other than Haladar Balaram. Other descriptions were on the chariot there's a flag with a palm tree, which is the sign on Lord Balaram's chariot. He looked like Lord Balaram. So he had a dream. Is that dream like our dream? No. This dream is called Sakshat Darshan, where the Lord is actually there. Sakshat, he's directly there, but he appears through the agency of a dream. Right? So he had that, and it's saying, hey, he's arrived. Speaking like this, Lord Chaitanya became absorbed in an ecstatic trance and began to roar loudly in the mood of Haladar Balaram, because they're not different. And the Lord, he's actually the Lord's expansion, as all the expansions are, all the different avatars and forms of God are Krishna himself, that he expands in order to taste different kinds of pastimes. He can exhibit slightly different personalities, different forms, different kinds of relationships with devotees. So now he's in that mood, and there's one pastime where Balaram is calling like this. "Bring me wine," Lord Chaitanya is calling. His loud voice almost shattered the ears of everyone present. Srivas Pandit then said, "Listen, please, O Gosai. The wine that you are asking for is right here in front of you. Only those you give it to can relish it." The wine that Balaram was taking was in Vrindavan during his own Rasa Leela. He's calling for wine. It's a special honey beverage made from the Kalpavriksha trees. Right? They ooze this honey-like liquid, which is spiritually intoxicating, not materially in inebriety. Material intoxication dulls the senses, dulls one's discrimination, all these crazy things. But Varuni, which he's calling for, heightens the perception and experience of transcendental love and makes one mad with ecstasy. Material intoxication also makes you mad, but in a different way, a mundane way. Right? So he's asking for that, but what do they have to give to him? They're going to give him Ganga water. It's a mood that he's in. But this was so frightening, all the devotees remained trembling in a distant place. They all thought there must be some reason behind the Lord's actions. The lotus-eyed Lord loudly talked in a way that appeared incoherent. He smiled and moved his body to and fro in the mood of Sankarshan. After a short while, the Lord returned to external consciousness. Mahaprabhu, when he comes in this world, he tastes two kinds of pleasure. He tastes the pleasure of himself as different incarnations and relates to his devotees in that way. But primarily he's come to taste the mood of the devotees as they serve those different incarnations. Right? And most specifically and most deeply, he wants to taste the joy of Radharani herself in her service to her beloved Gopinath, Govinda, Madan Mohan, Radharaman, right? Radha Vinod Bihari, Radha Shamasundar, Radha Damodar, all these special forms of Krishna, tasting the love of the Brajbasis. So, explaining the meaning of his dream, the Lord was in the mood of Balaram. The Lord said, I have a feeling in my heart that some holy personality has arrived at Navadvip. I already told all of you that we would meet him soon. O Haridas, O Srivas Pandit, go and find out who has come and where he has come from. By the order of the Lord, both pure devotees, Haridas Thakur and Srivas Pandit, happily wandered throughout the town, searching all over Navadvip for Lord Nityananda. Big town back then. It was a very large town. While wandering here and there, they happily talked to one another. They considered that Lord Sankarshan might have come. They happily wandered through the streets of Navadvip, but were unable to receive any news. Nobody knew. All the different townspeople, nobody knew. A few people down by Nandanacharya might have known something. I mean, they were inspired to chant, but they did not know Nityananda's identity, who he really was. So after searching the entire town of Navadvip for 9 hours, they returned to the Lord without success. Haridas Thakur and Srivas Pandit humbly reported to the Lord, we did not find the person you spoke of anywhere in Navadvip. We looked in the houses of sannyasis, Vaishnavas, Gyanis, and atheists. We saw all of Navadvip, but did not go to the villages outside Navadvip. Perhaps Ishardhan is considered outside of Navadvip as a little close-by village. Because even today, big cities they encompass also these neighborhoods that used to be villages. When I lived in Bangalore, it was always expanding, and it kind of absorbed villages. So you'd be in this newly expanded part of this big urban place, and then there'd be a little section with all these little mud huts and rows and people with goats and chickens and all like that. They just enveloped, the village. So Navadvip was a big town back then, but still all around it were villages. So we didn't find him. So hearing them, Sri Gaurasundar began to smile. On the pretext of ordering the search, he showed that Lord Nityananda's presence is most confidential. Remember when we heard that only by the grace of Nityananda, in other words, the grace of Guru, can you find and serve Mahaprabhu? Well, now we're finding out that only by the grace of God, Bhagavan, Mahaprabhu, can you find a bona fide guru, right? So if you want a bona fide guru, you just pray to our Guru Varga and pray to Mahaprabhu himself, Lord Nityananda, pray to them, you please send me a bona fide, high-class devotee, one of your devotees, to save me. So, Lord Nityananda's presence is most confidential. Some people glorify Lord Gaurachandra, but as soon as they hear the name of Nityananda, they get up to leave. This is just like one who worships Lord Govinda, but does not respect Lord Shiva. For that offense, such a person will surely go to the abode of Yamaraj. The incarnation of Lord Nityananda is most confidential. Without the consent of Lord Chaitanya, no one can even see him. If anyone criticizes Lord Nityananda's unfathomable qualities, even though he may possess devotion to Lord Krishna, such devotion will become obstructed. So you can't criticize Lord Nityananda. And as we heard at the end of the previous chapter, nor can you criticize any great Vaishnava, right? Even if he appears to have arguments with other Vaishnavas, because on the platform of purified transcendental consciousness, the dealings can be very mysterious to material people. And they may argue, but those arguments are on the level of high-class prema, right? Because even in Vrindavan, the devotees there argue. Radharani has arguments with Chandravali and her group. But what are those arguments? Even they sometimes say very harsh things about the other. But it's all about how can Krishna be pleased most? Not by what you're doing. Do it our way. They're very strict in their mood of service, and so they argue about it. But it's all an argument based on love. Love of Krishna. That's their only motive. And so pure devotees, their only motive is to serve Krishna, even though they may have vastly different views. They have 4 sampradayas. They have distinct philosophies that differ in some ways. Mahaprabhu reconciled all of them, but still, these devotees, they have their own mode of worship, but you would never criticize them. If you do, then you're not understanding bhakti. So, the incarnation of Lord Nityananda is most confidential. Without the consent of Lord Chaitanya, no one can even see him. If anyone criticizes Lord Nityananda's unfathomable qualities, even though he may possess devotion to Lord Krishna, such devotion will become obstructed. You will lose your bhakti for some time. Devotees headed by Srivas Pandit are fully conversant with the understanding of Lord Nityananda. But because the Lord wants to enjoy pastimes, they could not find him. Right? Even they were checked by Yogamaya. Right? Lord Chaitanya then said with a smile, "Come with me. Let us go see him." All the devotees joyfully went with the Lord while chanting, "All glories to Lord Krishna. Jai, Jai, Shri Krishna." On the way, Lord Chaitanya called out, "Murari, Murari, have you not seen Avadut Nityananda?" Saying this, he began to smile. He then said, "He is now staying at Nandana Acharya's house. Come with me. We are going there. I am telling you the truth." With God himself, he's omnipotent. But still, this is astonishing to the devotees, right? The nature of this omnipotence. We looked everywhere. Nope, you didn't go to Nandanacharya's house. So, while walking, the Lord repeatedly chanted, "Hari, Hari." His entire body trembled and his voice became choked. 5 or 7 lines of tears flowed from his eyes. The lustrous golden Lord was unable to walk. Sometimes he leaped 5 steps ahead like a powerful lion, and sometimes he looked like a mad elephant. Out of ecstasy, the Lord repeatedly made a loud sound again and again that was as grave as the rumbling of clouds. In this way, Sri Gaurasundar, along with its associates, finally reached the house of Nandanacharya. So he is barely able to walk. He was swaying back and forth in his madness of his own ecstasies. His devotees had to help him, right? And sometimes all of a sudden he would just leap in the air 5 large paces ahead, right? And he'd be roaring. And thereafter, they came to the house of Nandanacharya. Everyone saw a jewel-like personality sitting in the house of Nandanacharya. Okay, so we earlier heard about the appearance of Nityananda, his birth in Ekachakra. That's one description of his appearance, right? This is another description of his appearance in a different way, where he's appearing, meeting with his Lord, and the purpose of his appearance is now going to become fulfilled. This is his pastime as the avatar of the Sankirtan mission, This is where he's appearing for that purpose now. All right? So, this jewel-like personality sitting in the house of Nandanacharya, his effulgence was equal to that of millions of suns. He was sitting in his own mood, deeply absorbed in ecstatic meditation, smiling all the while. Aware that Lord Nityananda was in a deep trance of pure devotion, Lord Vishwambar and his associates offered obeisance. Everyone stood aside with awe and reverence. No one said a word. They simply stared at him. One year, 2003, we went to Navadvip for parikram there, and we went to take darshan of Sri Bhaktivedanta Vama Goswami Maharaj. He had entered into internal pastimes some time before. So he was barely speaking to anyone under any condition. He was just always absorbed internally, like this is being described. And his disciples would dress him in the morning, sit him in a chair, perhaps give him a little food or not, and we were all offered the opportunity to go take his darshan. So we went. But it was like this. He was sitting in a chair smiling, staring at we don't know what. And we came before him, and he just had this large smile on his face. He was beaming, he was effulgent, he was ecstatic, but he wasn't looking at us. He may have been, but he was internally absorbed in Mahaprabhu's Leela, just like Nityananda here. Right? It was the most amazing sight. I remember it to this day, being astonished, wondering what is happening. And so the devotees are seeing Nityananda Prabhu, and they stood aside with awe and reverence. No one said a word. They simply stared at him. So beautiful, so powerful, so deeply mysterious. Mahaprabhu Vishwambar then came before Nityananda Prabhu, who at once understood his beloved and worshipable Lord was present. Remember, they're going to be called like brothers. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said the prominent moods of Lord Nityananda towards Mahaprabhu, he said he was not his chum, his friend. He didn't act in that Sakya Ras. He had more the mood of deep servant to Mahaprabhu, right? And protector. Servant and protector. Because when Mahaprabhu would dance, he'd dangerously fall to the ground. Nityananda would protect him. And even in some of the pastimes they had when they wandered around very friendly and very intimately, sometimes they would come to a situation that Mahaprabhu, pretending to be innocent of, and Nityananda, being all wise, being older, and having traveled everywhere, could understand. Like they went and visited this Dari sannyasi, a so-called sannyasi who lived with women and also would drink wine. And they sat with him for some time, and the man offered them Ananda. Would you like some Ananda? Which for devotees means spiritual bliss, but for him meant, let's have some wine together. And Mahaprabhu didn't understand what he meant. And Nityananda said, oh, we have to go. He immediately understood this person's mentality. So he's a protector. Okay. Mahaprabhu Vishwambar then came before Nityananda Prabhu, who had once understood his beloved and worshipable Lord was present. The form of Vishwambar was as beautiful as that of Cupid. He wore attractive garments and was decorated with a flower garland. Sandalwood paste decorated his forehead. The luster of gold appeared most insignificant before the transcendental body of Lord Nityananda. Even the moon god hankers to see his enchanting face. The Lord's teeth resembled rows of pearls, and upon seeing his attractive hair, one would practically lose consciousness. While gazing at his two broad, pinkish eyes, one wonders, are these lotus flowers? His two long arms reached to his knees. A fine, thin, sacred thread beautified his broad chest. His forehead was wonderfully decorated with marks of tilak, and his body looked enchanting, even without ornaments. His fingernails defeated the beauty of millions of jewels. His attractive smile was sweeter than nectar. His body basically glowed like a jewel itself. Vishwambar stood in front of Nityananda Prabhu, who at once recognized the Lord of his heart. Nityananda Prabhu, out of joy, became stunned with ecstasy. He stared at Lord Vishwambar without blinking his eyes. He desired to lick Vishwambar with his tongue and drink his beauty through his eyes. Transcendental senses, right? You want to taste the beauty of the Lord in all different ways. Not like licking somebody in the mundane world, That can be kind of gross. Somebody comes up to you and licks you, yuck. But this, like when Nityananda himself went to Vrindavan, what happened? The deer and the cows all came up to lick him, right? And Mahaprabhu as well, the same thing, right? But when it's done by these personalities, he didn't actually do it, but his senses were all enlivened in that way, all his senses wanting to taste the beauty of the Lord. And drink his beauty through his eyes. Nityananda Prabhu desired to embrace Vishwambar with his arms and smell him with his nose, but he was simply stunned. No one could speak or move, being astonished. Lord Gauranga, the life and soul of everyone, beheld the situation and began to invent ways to reveal Nityananda Prabhu. Okay. Now, we've read for some time. Let's see. This is a longer chapter. Yeah, we're going to have to stop here. This is where they meet. This is the birth of the pastimes of Lord Nityananda and Mahaprabhu. This is really the appearance of Nityananda for us in this extraordinary way. Now he's going to manifest his merciful identity as a Kanda Guru Tattva, right? Embodying fully the principle of Guru. And we'll continue this tomorrow. It will also be on the YouTube, right? So we'll stop here. Offering obeisance to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol.